Welcome back to 5D Grandma, where we are awakening humanity one soul at a time. Today, I wanted to let you guys know that 2 of my videos got taken down and I got a strike on my channel, so I couldn't upload videos for 2 weeks. So I have to be careful what I say. I hope that the videos I uploaded today don't get taken down. I'm going to cross my fingers. Sorry, I had to edit. The dogs were barking. So please like, subscribe, and share my videos. I am going to try and be careful with what I say, but I don't know what they're going to take down. I'm not sure what they're going to take down. So I'm just going to put some information out there and hopefully it'll stay up. I want to talk about the censorship that's going on and the mockingbird media, the CIA operation from the invention of the television to control our minds. It is a CIA mind control operation, and there is a lot of evidence to prove that. They have a narrative they want to push, and they don't want anyone to know the truth or what's really going on. So that's what all of us independent people are trying to do, is to get the real truth out and kind of circumvent around the mainstream media or mockingbird media. I'd like you to notice in this first video that the newscasters are from the Treasure Valley. So they're right here in Boise. Anyways, you can't get news on local media or national media because they all have a script they read from every day. All this censorship is extremely dangerous.
Responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Brought to you by the Mockingbird Media. Thank you so much for telling us what to think. The next video I want to share is Scott McKay, who has the Patriot Street Fighter channel on all the platforms. And he has a legendary ICE agent. His name is Victor Avila. I want to thank him for his service and all he's done to fight against human trafficking at the Mexican border. He's worked there for many, many years. And I want to say thank you to him. But he has a good message that I'd like to share with you today.
Because he is the guy who has been on the front lines of taking down the major part of this criminal, evil power structure that's basically encircled the planet. And from a territorial standpoint, it's right here on the southern border in the United States. So I want to introduce to you the legendary ICE agent, world record holder in some things that have to do with handling of weapons. This is a last minute opportunity today to bring him on. And so it's truly a privilege and an honor to have Victor Avila, one of our heroes on the southern border. Victor, it is absolutely fantastic to have you today, my friend.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate the platform and the time. And
especially the importance that we're facing and the challenging times that we're facing with all these criminal networks and our open borders. And so thank you for having me.
Well, it's really a privilege. Most people know you from your best-selling book, Agent Under Fire. That's something we want to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about your story when that fateful day happened, but I'd like to lay the groundwork on your career as it started, as it tracked over the next decade with ICE and the other things you've done. So at what point did that all begin when you went down that career path, and what made you go down that career path?
I'm born and raised in El Paso in Texas, and very familiar with the border. And my law enforcement career started with the state as a Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a parole officer, then worked for the United States courts as a federal probation officer, and eventually became a special agent with U.S. Customs, which we now know as ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, when both agencies, the U.S. Customs Service and the Immigration and Naturalization Service, were combined under the new Department of Homeland Security back then in 2003. And so, it was, talk about investigating anything that touches our southern border or any border of the United States and has a nexus to it. HSI, now Homeland Security Investigations, has a jurisdiction to investigate that. And we're talking about human trafficking, human smuggling, money laundering, drug trafficking, intellectual property rights, which a lot of people kind of forget that part of that HSI does as well. But counterfeit masks, counterfeit vaccines, things that a lot of fraudulent things that try to come through that porous border that we have.
So when you got started in your career, at what point did you move up into ICE operations?
So when I started off in narcotics investigation, like most agents do on the border. Eventually, I did some good investigative work and made a name for myself in the El Paso office, and with some big investigations that allowed me to move to other investigative groups, like financial groups dealing mostly with money laundering and the Bank Secrecy Act and those type of investigations, and then led to my assignment on the other side of the border. ICE has and HSI has offices in 76 countries. And one was right across the border in Ciudad Juarez, which back then was 2008, when that city was the most dangerous city in the world. We're looking at 350 homicides a month there. And the office needed help. I started there on a temporary status duty. And then that status and that assignment led to my permanent assignment to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, which I then went and took my family with and served. And I concentrated heavily on the human trafficking aspect. I had already been running the human trafficking task force in El Paso and investigating those type of cases as well. But really, it was a game changer when I went to Mexico, because there was a lot of organizations that were just bringing in kids and women into the United States for the sole purpose of exploiting them sexually. And I'm talking about places like New York, Atlanta, Houston, Miami, Chicago, all over the place. And I was successful in taking a lot of those organizations down and rescuing countless women and children from those horrific conditions. And unfortunately, it continues to happen. It's continuing to happen even more so now as we speak right now with the new administration and the open border policy that they have implemented just in the last few weeks. And we've seen the influx of these individuals, not just the adults, but the unaccompanied minors that are coming down through the border. And we could really dive into that. But that's what I did in my career. And in 2011, suffered a horrific attack by the Zetas cartel. My partner and I were ambushed by Los Zetas cartel on a highway in Mexico. I was shot 3 times and miraculously survived. My partner paid the ultimate sacrifice and was killed in the line of duty, Special Agent Jaime Zapata. And that's the reason, one of the big reasons why I wrote the book, to make sure that people knew about his story and knew the sacrifice that he gave in protecting and trying to protect our homeland from the same subjects that we're talking about: arms trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and the poison that these cartels continue to bring into our country. And so that kind of changed my life, and it ultimately ended my career. I took a retirement in 2015, but I haven't stopped from carrying as a proud American from caring what happens to our country, and I see that we're losing every day the protection, and I want to continue to protect our sovereignty because I see us losing that, and I want to be able to share not just my expertise, because I continue to stay on top of what's happening on the border with my contacts, and I really in the cartels and what's going on with them, and it is really disheartening with the new administration, what they've done and what they continue to do. And I don't see any effort from them trying to stop this for political reasons. And we'll get into that. But I really want people to be aware, especially in the interior part of our country that might not be aware, or they're not going to get it from the mainstream media. They're going to get these polished news stories. The Secretary of Homeland Security won't even admit that there's a crisis right now. They won't even use the words. And so if we have an administration that is not willing to even use the accurate words to describe what's happening on our southern border, we have a real problem.
I'm going to have to get my plug and punch in on these scumbags. How does that make you feel, having gone through what you've gone through, what you've seen, that horrific experience that day in that highway, and coming into these rescue activities when you rescue these human beings, these children, these women, young boys, whatever, knowing what happened to them and seeing the look on their face and the fear and the pain and everything that goes along with that, which I want to talk to you about in depth. I think people need to understand the emotional side of that. But what does it do to you when you see these scumbags on the far left, the Kamala Harris's, all the people on the left, the Democrat Party, and I'm mixing in the true bag of deplorables, the ones that pretend that they care, like the Republican Party and the Republican traitors in there that I've been identifying and spotlighting for well over a year. What does it make you feel like when one side is completely indifferent, the other side's not only in denial, but framing this picture to be everything other than what it is, a true horrific crime against humanity, and then the attacks on the ICE agents, vilifying you people, calling you out, calling you criminals and Nazis? How does that make you feel when you see this shit every day?
It is beyond disheartening, and really it's a shame that they don't care. They don't care. It doesn't seem for the actions that they take. We've heard and we hear the rhetoric every day and with the talk, and I'm frankly fed up with the talk. I want to see the actions, and that's why the previous administration under Trump, it was the policy, it was the actions that were taken that matter to secure our border, to secure our country, and now it's gone away. And
the media is not going to be telling us what's going on at the border, at least not until they change ownership or something. I'm not sure if it ever will, to tell you the truth. So the next video I have is of Robert David Steele. He is an amazing man. He was in the CIA and he has amazing intel and he's connected. He wants to share a little bit about how we have evidence of them stealing $100 trillion from Main Street, the human trafficking, the child sex trafficking, the steal of the election, and we're not going to take it anymore. So let's hear it from Robert David Steele.
We have it all. All of the illicit wealth in the world has been tracked by the National Security Agency for the past 15 years. We now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Wall Street has stolen $100 trillion from Main Street with naked short selling. We also know that Wall Street has laundered $100 trillion in dirty money from trafficking in children and women and drugs and guns and gold. I could never tire of saying that 90% of the people in the U.S. government, the U.S. military, the U.S. intelligence community are good people trapped in a bad system. The secret intelligence community serves the deep state. It does not serve the American public. And CIA in particular has been doing torture, rendition and torture, drone assassination, regime change, helping to start wars based on lies, all because war and trafficking in humans and drugs and so forth are a profit center for Wall Street and the deep state. And once the president gets Benny into NSA and processes 100% of what we have at NSA, we have every single one of you by the balls. You cannot survive this. You have one out. The Truth and Reconciliation out is make the deal, motherfucker, or you are going to die.
That was quite an ultimatum. I guess we're not going to take it anymore. It's time we Americans stand up for our rights. And now I have another video. Juan Savin or Juan Savin. They say his name both ways, so not really sure. He is allegedly JFK Jr., but also not sure about that. Juan Savin has to say is really inspirational. Let's hear from him.
Telling you that. Do you get it? We are in a war. It's a digital war. You just watch what happened a couple minutes ago, and then you're wondering, but why doesn't he tell us this detail right here? Why? Why the fuck do you think I don't? Are you pissed yet? You've got days to save your country. And when people do what they have to do, don't be fussing like somebody is overstepping the line. If you hear that from somebody, tell them to shut the fuck up and get out of our face. We're not letting the Steele stand. Take that and stuff it right up your ass. It's not gonna happen. Am I being clear enough?
Well, our military is not messing around, and the American people are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to stand for the steal of our election. We're not going to stand for the stealing of our children, and we're not going to stand for the stealing of our money. And I'm not going to stand for having our rights taken away any longer. I hope everyone has a great day. Please like, subscribe, and share. This is 5D Grandma, and we are awakening humanity one soul at a time for God and country.